The concept of photocopy memory, often referred to as photographic memory, is a popular cultural trope representing the ability to recall information with perfect, instantaneous, and permanent fidelity. However, this report finds that as a scientifically verifiable phenomenon, true photographic memory is an unfounded myth. The very architecture of human memory, which is a constructive and fallible process rather than a passive recording, makes such an ability neurologically implausible. This report distinguishes the popular misconception from a handful of rare but scientifically documented forms of superior memory. The scientific community's stance on photographic memory is clear and consistent. There is a lack of compelling evidence that eidetic memory exists at all among healthy adults, and no evidence that photographic memory exists. One of the most frequently cited examples of supposed photographic memory is the case of Elizabeth, a student studied by Harvard vision scientist Charles Strohmeyer III in the 1970s. However, the study has been largely discredited due to significant methodological and ethical concerns. The results have never been replicated. Furthermore, Elizabeth consistently refused to be retested under different conditions, fueling skepticism among researchers. The most fundamental reason why photocopy memory is a myth lies in the very nature of human memory. The brain is not a passive recording device like a video camera or a hard drive. Instead, memory is an active, dynamic, and inherently constructive process. An individual's recollection of an event is not a retrieval of a static file but a reconstruction of that event. This process involves several key stages, each with its own limitations and design choices. Sensory memory, short-term and long-term memory. Highly superior autobiographical memory, HSAM, also known as hyperthymesia, is a rare condition characterized by the ability to recall a near-perfect volume of autobiographical detail and public events with specific dates. Individuals with HSAM can recount what they were doing and what the weather was like on a randomly chosen date from their past, but this recall is often described as uncontrollable and totally exhausting. The first documented case was a woman known as AJ, later identified as Jill Price, who could recall every day of her life from the age of 14 onward. Tentative neurological research on individuals with HSAM has shown some structural differences, such as an enlarged temporal lobe and caudate nucleus. Savant syndrome is another form of exceptional memory, but it occurs in individuals with an intellectual disability, autism, or other nervous system injuries or diseases. Savants demonstrate extraordinary, often prodigious abilities in specific and isolated domains. Their skills are almost always linked to a massive memory for specific types of information. Examples include being able to memorize thousands of books, as was the case with Kim Peek, or to recite complex musical compositions after a single listening. Perhaps the most compelling evidence for a human's ability to develop a superior memory comes from the world of memory competitions. The extraordinary feats of these memory champions are often mistakenly attributed to innate photographic memory. However, this is a profound misunderstanding. These individuals explicitly state that they do not possess a photographic memory and that their skills are the result of rigorous, systematic training using mnemonic techniques. The foundational technique used by memory champions is the method of loci, also known as the memory palace or mind palace technique. While the pursuit of a mythic photocopy memory is a fruitless endeavor, the ability to improve one's memory is a tangible and scientifically supported goal. Scientific studies have demonstrated that this mnemonic training has a measurable neurological impact. Brain scans of superior memorizers show increased activity in brain regions associated with spatial awareness. Memory is not solely a cognitive function, it is also deeply tied to physiological health and lifestyle. Sleep, nutrition, and mental exercises all play critical roles. The desire to possess a photocopy memory is a natural one, born of a longing for a flawless, effortless recall. However, the rigorous analysis of human memory reveals that this popular notion is a myth. The truth about the human mind is far more compelling than the fantasy of perfect recall. While an individual cannot simply acquire a photographic memory, the scientific evidence demonstrates that the capacity for superior memory can be developed. The true wonder of memory lies not in a passive recording, but in a dynamic, interconnected network capable of massive storage, creative retrieval, and significant improvement. The journey toward a better memory is not about chasing a superpower. It is about mastering the brain's inherent and remarkable design.